Now, and now it came out today. He tried to settle for $10 million. Settlers.
No, I get it. That
You
doesn't
know,
make you look good at all.
when you settle, it doesn't.
But then, of course, allegedly, they say they have a bunch of texts. The attorney has a bunch of texts saying the lady begging him to put a quote unquote big black baby in her, and other stuff saying he wants him to choke her. Which, when you read, if you read these texts or whatever the case may be with this, I haven't seen the text directly. I'm just going by what was said through the media. But then why, if that's the case, and you have these receipts, so to speak, why would you settle for $10 million? That's a lot of money. $10 million.
Yeah, that's a lot of money to settle. First of all, they're text messages. Doesn't make him not guilty. Doesn't make her innocent.
Right.
They're just having an explicit conversation over a text. Doesn't mean it happened.
That's true. I agree with you.
So it doesn't mean that happened. Didn't the Michigan State coach, didn't he, you can say anything.
Tucker, yeah.
Yeah, texting is, people, they call it sexting, right? So the actions, she's saying, like, she put out the word rape. So you can have a 10 billion word text message. You can have 30 years of consensual sexual relationship. But in year 31, you guys are consensual, and she says, stop, and you continue. That's rape.
Well, let's get a little rundown of this. So the lawsuit filed on Sunday in the Nevada State Court that Jane Doe, and from what we're seeing here, we'll go with that, even though it's came up that allegedly she's a OnlyFans.
And keep in mind, folks, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
I'm not
We're
accusing
just-
anybody of anything.
We're just talking about it.
I don't know anything. I wasn't there. I don't know. I don't know Shannon Sharp. I
So
don't know
she's
her.
seeking $50 million.
Slot.
The lawsuit brings a claim for sexual battery, as well as one for intentional infliction of emotional distress for Sharp's alleged verbal abuse. It says here, Sharp violently sexually assaulted and anally raped plaintiff 2 different times in Las Vegas, blatantly ignoring her request for him to stop. The complaint states he did it again in January. And in a statement post on X attributed to his lawyer, Lanny Davis, Sharp named his accuser and cited text messages that he says proves that the relationship was consensual, and he called the woman's suit an egregious attempt at blackmail. Also, Sharp and the woman met in 2023 at a Los Angeles gym, according to the complaint. They soon entered into a relationship. Surprise, surprise, which included consensual sex. The lawsuit says the sex later turned violent, it alleges. The woman says Sharp confronted the woman, demanded she take him to her house, and once there, he forced her to perform oral sex before penetrating her. And then 3 months later, in January, Sharp allegedly assaulted her a second time. The lawsuit alleges he grabbed her, pulling her around and positioning her to perform oral sex, which lasted for roughly 2 minutes. The complaint states then Sharp repositioned her and roughly forced himself inside of her. Sharp has also been sued in New York State Court by an ex-girlfriend who alleges he forced her to perform oral sex. My thing is this. Can I just say this? Whether it was consensual or not, that's got to be proven, right? But if you didn't like it the first time, I mean, why would you go back? Did you think things were going to change the second time? Because it says here, in this, it says they did it 2 different times in Vegas, ignoring her request for him to stop. The complaints state he did it again in January, allegedly. Why would you go back? Why, like, if this happened before, why would you stick around and do it and come back again? That, to me, I mean, that just kind of is
Money.
I mean,
Money?
obviously.
Maybe thinking it would stop. Like, I don't know the state of her mind. Like, maybe she thought it would be different.
Well, can we say this though?
And she kept,
if you're meeting people at gyms, and obviously he probably knew she was an OnlyFans person, and that's what he had to know in the back of his head that it's. It had to be just sex in his mind.
Well, yeah, but that could be.
I'm sure he didn't date her or want to date her to marry her.
Well, she could. We don't know.
I mean, you're right.
We
We
don't
don't
know. She could be a streetwalker. What the
Right.
OnlyFans thing doesn't really matter. Like, it's how he treated her. How he physically. What she's saying physically, but you're right. She kept going back. Like, I mean, the OnlyFans page or whatever, the porn star or a streetwalker, she's still a woman, and she still feels that she was violated. That's one. Two, I don't want to hear Shannon was 54 and she was 20. She was over 18, right?
Right.
So she's over 18, she's 19, 20. Belichick 70. Nobody's saying anything about his girlfriend. It's 23. Okay? So let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Yeah, I mean,
because
to me,
they're applauding that.
Right.
So let's not do that. But the thing with Shannon is he has a history of this. He was let go at CBS for complaints. They had complaints at Fox.
Was he involved in those complaints with Troy Taylor?
No,
in the year too?
he was not in that.
Okay.
He was not in that. But Jason Whitlock, and I'm quoting Jason Whitlock, that worked there before Shannon Sharpe worked there. The HR file is big on him with women and before. So Busby, the lawyer that goes after these folks, he's trying to turn on the lights so all the women can come out. That's what he's doing. And this is what he does. So it's not a good look. Actually, it's sad, to use, again, what you said earlier, the athlete, it's a typical story. It's the same
Well, it's a
story.
typical story because I think a lot of times it's guilty until proven
Innocent.
innocent.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know what Shannon did. I don't know what she did. We got the tech stuff, but they did say that she is, that he wanted to settle for $10 million.
But do you?
And he has a history. And Shannon Sharpe to me, like the LA incident when he was in, wanting to fight Ja Morant or whoever the Memphis player, that kind of showed me a lot. That was kind of a red flag. It has nothing to do with really women, but he was so like aggressive and ready to just, dude, you're a professional. You're in the media now. You're different. You're Shannon Sharpe. You're You're obviously good at what you do. Stephen A. Smith brought you over. The ratings increased. You and Skip had a good thing going for 6 years. So, sometimes you just you got to have you got to have some restraint. You just do. Like, you're in a position, everybody can see you, and you're out there ready to fight NBA basketball players. Then you come back and you let a sex tape slip.
But do you
Like,
think a lot of this though is
And you do it's just behavior.
dropped so that their popularity or their viewership goes up?
It could be.
You know, it's a money thing.
It could be.
Because we see this
Everything's about
all
money.
too often.
Everything's about money. We know that.
But like I
Everything's about
said,
money.
look, granted, you know, like we've talked about this before with the Trevor Bauer thing. Listen, some people are into that rough sex and all that other stuff, but I just feel like, you know, do you think Shannon Sharpe's getting a bad rap, Or do you just think he just doesn't know how to control himself? And like you said, you had heard that allegedly he has a huge HR file on him. Allegedly.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think this is the type of guy that, you know, this is just his MO and this is what he does? Or do you think he's kind of getting a bad rap with this?
I don't know. I don't know if he's getting a bad rap. I don't know if it's true. Like I said, you know, Whitlock reported that he worked there. He saw things that he's not going to, you know, say about. But he did get, this is what happened to him at CBS. A woman filed a complaint against him years ago. He took Deion Sanders' spot on CBS broadcast, and he was very good at it. I don't know Shannon Sharp personally, but some of the actions that you see, some of the things that you see, they're aggressive things. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how he is with women, but there's a kind of a pattern here.
Yeah, according to that, you know, it's not like it's not good.
It's not good for him. It's not good for her.
It's not good for
No,
It's just like I said. I mean, if you felt like, I think most people that have been accused of this kind of stuff and are adamant about being innocent wouldn't be allegedly trying to settle out of court.
Out of court. Mm-hmm.
I don't see that's because it wouldn't be like she's settling out of court for $250,000.
Right.
This is $10 million.
It's $10 million.
Which means if he's settling this for $10 million with her,
Something went wrong.
something went wrong.
Yeah.
And not only that, he thinks, or his lawyer thinks, settle with her for 10 because she could get more money out of you, and or you know, your
has the
character
goods
is
on
going to be even worse. But like I said, if you're innocent and you want to prove yourself and keep your job in the media,
Don't settle.
don't settle.
Well, this is going to go bad, you know, if it's that, because he's set to sign a $100 million deal. So that, you know, this could go, it could help, or it
Because
could
it
hurt.
says here she was seeking 50 mil. So she only wants 10 now?
Well, he was willing to settle for 10. She doesn't want any. He said he sent her the settle bill. She was like, no, 50. That raised the stakes, and that's going to raise the stakes for him. We'll see how it plays out, but either way, it doesn't look good.
For me, though,
Because now you have it. Now you have it. All your other stuff brought up.
I just feel like, though, that I'm not saying Shannon Sharp is in the right, but just in what information we're seeing right now, he was going to give her 10 mil. She wants 50. My thing is, this has happened before with the same girl, and she came back, and the same thing happened again. You know what I'm saying?
Doesn't make it right.
You know, it doesn't make it right at all.
That's the
But
only
it's
thing.
just like, to me though, that just seems like
'Cause you can- 'cause
there's some kind of, it kind of smells of blackmail.
Well, take the money out of it. Take the $50 million, take the 100, take what he's worth out of it, and they're just regular Joe Schmoes. Because people with money don't consider themselves regular. So take that out of it, and then you say, I really like this person. You know how many women get slapped in the face and go back to the same dude?
Well, that's true.
They do it all the time.
I agree with you.
You know how many women get punched in the face? and
most
go
of
back
them don't. They're going back to don't have the money.
Yeah.
But here's my thing: if you're trying, if you find out somebody, if you meet somebody in the gym, and you find out they're an OnlyFans woman, because I'm sure that was brought up.
But that's you can be an OnlyFans model. You don't have to be a sex OnlyFans model.
Right, but when you first think of OnlyFans, isn't that kind of the first thing you think of? Oh, it's got to be sex, and maybe OnlyFans is, obviously there's I don't
know much about it. I just, like I said, I don't. It's not all sex. People model on it, and they do tasteful things on it too. I don't know this woman at all. I don't know what she did on there, but he told her if he would buy her boobs if they won this workout thing together. And he ended up doing that. So I'm sure he knew it was a money grab. That's where you have to have that restraint and be careful. You know, if you like you said, if you know that, and she's just putting it in your face, well, this is what it is. I'm OnlyFans, and you know, you got to kind of be careful if that's the avenue you're going to take.
Well, he obviously, according to this, and my thing is this: why do people have to like post this kind of stuff? Post these tweets or whatever you want to call it now.
People love sensation, man.
Why does this is something that I wouldn't want to add any fuel to the fire. Keep it hush hush to a certain extent, because he puts out this on, I believe it was maybe Instagram. He said,
Yep.
"At this juncture, I am electing to step aside temporarily from my ESPN duties. I will be devoting this time to my family, responding and dealing with these false and disruptive allegations set against me. I plan to return to ESPN at the start of the NFL preseason. I sincerely appreciate the overwhelming and ongoing support I have received from my family, fans, friends, and colleagues."
Why are you stepping aside?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're
You haven't been proven guilty
innocent,
yet.
Yeah.
You haven't been proven. But the brand ESPN, the biggest sports brand in the world, they told him, bye. Stephen A. Smith said on his podcast. So here's the thing with that. You recruited him to come over. Everybody knows you gambled on him. Again, let me repeat, this happened before. CBS let him go. This happened before. Again, I'm not saying Shannon is, even on the CBS story, they found something that they thought was wrong, but Stephen A. recruited him. It just shows to show you how everything is just about money and ratings and things like that. Because you've done a background check, right? This is what has happened. And they allegedly it was at Fox. Everything goes on at Fox. There's no telling what goes on at Fox. So you guys they just had enough. Is what, and me honestly, I think at some point they're going to have enough of Stephen A. Smith. Every day he's in a fight with something or doing something. I don't know. I know they like that.
You think these media figures have become?
It's not clean media anymore.
No, it's not.
And I watch
it's not
like
at all.
Yeah, it's not clean media. It's just throw shots, dirtbag this, dirtbag that. Everything is, But when you get in those situations when you're popular, you have money, people want your money. Everybody knows that. On any level.
On any level.
They want your money.
You're right.
They want your money. So you got to be aware of that. This young lady, that could have been her set out.
But do you think it's unfair to a certain extent that you see a guy like Shannon Sharpe stepping away allegedly on his own?
Well, you're only there 2 days a week. So
Right.
It's not like
And then, but not only that, you see a guy like Trevor Bauer who wasn't settling for any payments. Come to find out, what he said was true, and he proved that. But now he doesn't get a second chance in the big leagues.
that.
You know what I'm
Is he
saying?
always injured? Because you've been screaming the Trevor Bauer thing for years.
No, he's not always injured. No.
So why do you think he's not getting a second chance?
I just think it's because of this situation. What else is there?
I'm saying, but he was.
He's pitched well. Obviously in Japan he's pitched well. He pitched well last year in the Mexican League. I just think he got a bad rap, and he was one of these ones where they crucified him. And come to find out, I just think I think a lot of these franchises, if they bring him back, then that has to say, yeah, we were wrong, and they don't want to admit that.
Could be. I don't. Like I said, his deal was he was 100% proven wrong. I mean, proven innocent, and this is America.
Right.
So I don't. Maybe it's something that we don't know.
Well, but then you look at, you could say blackball, so to speak, in certain things as you do, the Colin Kaepernick thing. Now, granted, Colin Kaepernick to me wasn't a great quarterback, but he was serviceable. He went to the Super Bowl with Jim Harbaugh. But, obviously the whole patriotic thing did him in, and now, he couldn't even get a shot at any team. Now, granted, that could have been a skill thing for him.
Skill, yeah.
But he did prove that he was a decent quarterback in the NFL while he played.
Yeah, he could have been backup somewhere.
Right.
But nobody wants to go through that standing, kneeling, all that. Nobody wants to.
So
I can see the
do you
point.
think it's just the back? But see, my thing is this: I can see teams not wanting to pick up certain players just because of what they are perceived to be. But here's a guy, like we said, like Trevor Bauer, where he was proven innocent. And then there's other, we've seen that through the stuff. I mean, I'm just saying.
No, I'm laughing at you.
Because
You like Trevor Bauer as a pitcher.
I do like Trevor Bauer. But here's my thing. Trevor, when you look at it, though, it's not like everybody thought, oh, Trevor Bauer's a dirtbag, and I can't believe you would do this to a woman and do that, that. And when it all boils down to, he was proven innocent.
Sometimes that happens. Sometimes they prove you innocent.
So Shannon Sharp,
guilty, yeah.
Do you think he gets through this and you see him back on the air?
I do not know. I cannot answer that because I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with Trevor Bauer. I don't know.
It was kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
rough sex.
Yes.
That was said it wasn't consensual.
Yeah.
But it ended up being.
What?
And listen.
Well, Shannon Sharps, they both said it was consensual. They both said it was consensual. But you got to be careful with that because, again, it doesn't matter how many times you can be consensual. If she says stop or no, you have to stop or no.
Absolutely.
So that's that for him. And then she's saying something about a gun. I don't know what happened with Trevor Bauer. All I remember is that she, I guess, whatever, the rough sex thing, and maybe from an inside in MLB, maybe there's something else to him because clearly he was 100% innocent. So why wouldn't? You know what I mean? Like maybe it's something we don't know about it. But I don't know. I don't know if this is going to hurt his brand. I don't know if he comes back or not. I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we also have a topic that ties into this, and I know people have watched. Last weekend was WrestleMania weekend from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, they had it in Las Vegas? Okay.
And it's now a 2-night event. It's been a 2-night event for a while now. Remember how back in the day it was one? And it was like a
Sunday.
4-hour pay-per-view.
Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
It was on Sunday.
It was on for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Well, now they have 2 nights that are probably about 3 hours long. So they have night one where they have all the matches and championships, and then the second night the same thing. So it's gotten that big to where they sell out both. I think between the two, I think I did watch a little bit of it. Between the 2 nights, they drew 120-some thousand people.
I heard the tickets were astronomical.
Well, that's what we're going to get ourselves into.
It's not the same. Jared knows about this stuff.
Jared does know about this. Before I go to
don't go to Jared. Okay. Go
Before I go to Jared, though,
Okay.
To tie into what the Shannon Sharp thing was.
Yeah, please tell me.
Paul Heyman, who is a legendary WWE Hellraiser, he's a manager. He kind of stays in
looks like
kayfabe. He kind of stays in kayfabe all the time.
He looks like the
very
Undertaker
good.
manager.
He does. He went on the Pat McAfee show, who Pat McAfee, if you don't know, is also a color commentator for WWE events.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, it says, after he chose violence, as kids like to say, and how violent? He says, we're talking to the point where viewers were left wondering if Pat's show would be canceled after the variety of topics raised by Heyman,
Wow.
including the reference of ESPN talent Shannon Sharp's brand new $50 million rape lawsuit.
What did Heyman say?
Well, here's what Heyman said.
Heyman, okay.
Paul Heyman. The ink was barely dry on the lawsuit, and Heyman sat there on ESPN airwaves making multiple sharp references. He says, "You don't care about the opinions of people who are relevant in your life," Heyman told McAfee. "You don't care about the opinions of people who pay you. They sit there and go, 'Hey, Mr. McAfee, don't talk about Shannon Sharpe on your air today.' And you go, 'I can talk about anything I want.'" Heyman then made references to Pat smoking pot, brought up by Stephen A. Smith, and made sure to drop a mention that WWE wrestler CM Punk does as much for my reputation as Shannon Sharpe does to ESPN. So WWE fans say that he should be classified as nuclear heat, for those who don't understand wrestling industry vernacular, is a wrestler or wrestling personality's ability to elicit a strong emotional reaction from the crowd, typically negative, but can also be positive. So he had some crazy things to say on this. And like I said, here's a guy that it's something to, hey, WrestleMania was a big thing, and he's kind of keeping it. You know, people do things for social media to get views and hits. So maybe people that don't watch wrestling see this on Paul Heyman's on Pat McAfee show, and then says, "Hey, we got to check out wrestling." So it's kind of like the negative always seems
Outweigh the positive.
outweigh the positive.
It does.
Where people get views.
Yeah, people don't like positivity.
So the big thing with getting off that, the big thing with WrestleMania was, and Jared's got some more information for us. Jared, our producer, our big producer here
big-time
on
producer.
the Cohen Bro Opinion Show, and also the Roar Live.
Yeah.
Jared, I know we kind of talked about this a little bit before we went on the air. I know Randy Orton, who is a wrestler, talked about how shocked he was that the price of the WrestleMania. So what do you have on that?
Wait, before you answer, Randy Orton, is that Kyle Orton's
That's
brother?
Cowboy Bob Orton's son.
Oh, Cowboy Bob.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not a huge WWE fan. My pastor talks about it 3 or 4 times a year in his sermons for whatever reason. But, you know, I go to concerts every once in a while. I went to a show earlier this year. I paid about $55 for that ticket. It wasn't a huge artist, kind of like a small Midwestern show.
Okay.
And it was at the Russell, so parking was $20, and then you get inside, it's $5. It's hard to justify, you know, going out to these live events right now. You think it's going to be like $40 for the ticket or whatever, even if it's less than that. You're paying upwards of $100 per person once you're getting down there and in there. So I've been interested in kind of the whole economics of this live event industry, which kind of includes WrestleMania. A couple weeks ago, I was watching this report on CBS, and I'm just going to put it up. It's a great report. If you have time, check it out after our show is over. It's called The Price of Admission, and it talks about the whole concert industry, the whole live ticketing industry, everything with Ticketmaster and all that. And it was surprising for me to learn that Ticketmaster itself was actually created to take the heat off of the venues. Back in the day, I mean, it's always been the profit margin for concerts and live events has been extremely low, and so trying to get those venues to make more money, trying to help the artists make more money has been difficult. So Ticketmaster came in and essentially implemented fees that go straight to the venue.
Okay.
And they take the heat for it. So even the CEO of Ticketmaster has gone on to say that the venue is their customer, and not and not the consumer.
So is it? Are they partners? Sounds like is it like a partnership or?
It's a
Sounds
partnership with the
Sounds
venue.
like a Ponzi scheme.
It does, right?
Jeez.
So
Yeah, they were saying that the WWE, I guess the tickets were skyrocketed, and,
Well,
and
according
the
to
product stunk.
Well, listen, we talked about this concerts and all this other stuff. Most of the time, you're paying upwards to over $100 in fees.
at least.
Like, so, you see, and the bad thing is you see a concert that you want. Oh, I can get $35 seats. But by the time you go through the checkout of it, they add another $100 to it, and you're paying $130, $140. Some fans pay up to, depending on where you want to sit. I mean, it could be upwards to thousands. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think there's a $1,000 ticket I would even pay for anything. I don't.
Lions in the Super Bowl.
No, I'd rather watch it at my house.
Yeah.
Well, you don't.
I mean, that's just me. I just think that's not money worth spending.
You don't have to worry about that ticket. That ticket ain't gonna exist. That's never gonna happen. So you don't have to worry about that one.
Jared, so you've seen a small town concert. So is there anything? What's the most you would pay for a ticket?
Probably about $50-$60. Yeah, my parents have tickets to the Billy Joel Stevie Nicks thing later this year.
Oh, that's dope.
Okay.
And they're not even taking me with them. I'm a huge Billy Joel fan, but
Okay.
it's like it's too expensive, and like I can't justify that. I'm a 25-year-old working my way through, so it's.
So wait, how much is it? Billy Joel?
I think it's like $200 or something like that per ticket. And I mean, with those, you're talking about resale markets too. Like a lot of those tickets your scalpers pick those up before the general public do.
Yeah.
On most of those occasions. So.
Wow.
Well, I mean, the Doobie Brothers are coming to Pine Knob, and I like the Doobie Brothers. But I'm not to sit. If you're not sitting on the grass, you're looking at hundreds and some dollars a ticket.
Even down in those seats. right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I don't know, man.
They
That's
gotta pay
just
the artists.
money it's just wasted money. Because then it's not doesn't include parking.
No, parking's a whole other
and take for instance a few years ago when I had season tickets to the Michigan Panthers. I got the whole season, the first year back. I paid $120 total for the whole entire year, 2 seats, mind you, at the 50-yard line. Their first year back, I paid more to park down there for these games than I did for the price of admission to get in, and then the next year, the price of the tickets skyrocketed. It wasn't even nowhere close to being reasonable. And don't get me wrong, I love UFL football, but for me to pay a lot of money. I mean,
Yeah.
look at our a friend of ours that she follows Beyonce around and pays
yeah,
outrageous amounts
Yeah.
to
No
see
matter
her in
where she's
different
at, yeah.
cities.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. These guys are already bona fide millionaires. Listen. I like going down to the Tigers game, but you're going to pay at least, $50-$60 or more to sit. And if you want anything close,
Just bring 100.
because if I'm not mistaken, I think those new seats right behind home plate, where they totally remodeled it back there.
Oh, did they? I gotta
And
get
yeah,
down
those seats are they almost look like lounger seats, and I think it's all you can eat food plus the ticket.
Oh,
but it's
yeah.
over $200. I don't know if I want to go spend over $200 to see a regular season game of the Tigers.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot.
How much would you pay, Go?
To go see who?
Anybody. Well, if Mike Jack was alive, what would you go do?
I'd pay the $1,000.
You would?
Yeah. It's Michael. I pay it. I pay the $1,000. If I had, I pay the $1,000. Because you're gonna get 1,000 hits.
Well,
So every hit's $1.
I mean, I know we would put on a good show.
Yeah.
But when I went out to Vegas to see Bruno Mars, that was a
was a lot,
nice
right?
penny.
Yeah.
And then I
But
went
you
out
got
to see
the
Usher.
worth. Yeah.
I mean, it was
Was it worth it? Now you've been there, so I saw Michael when I was a kid.
They both were great, entertaining shows.
Was it worth what you spent?
Me, no, it wasn't. If you asked my wife, it was the best thing since sliced bread.
Okay.
So I mean, but some things you got to take the L on. Just
Gotcha.
you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Happy wife, happy life.
Gotcha.
kind of deal,
Right.
So I mean, not to say that I wouldn't pay. I guess it would be a special occasion because that was a special occasion.
Yeah.
It's a birthday.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Sometimes
it
it
was a
depends.
birthday.
Occasion.
It was a birthday Christmas gift.
Right. Let's put it as occasion.
Right.
Yeah. Let's put it as occasion. We got to bring Jared back in here. I got another question for him.
All right.
Jared,
Yes, sir.
what was the deal? We're gonna switch topics here. What was the deal with I think you told me last week or something like that. We wanted to talk about going in space. Now, the ladies. First of all, who were the ladies? I know it was Gail,
Katy Perry
Katy
thought
Perry.
she was the next.
Katy Perry,
Yeah.
and I forgot. It was like 3 of them or 4 of them, right?
Right.
I think it was an all lady
ladies,
crew.
right? So, what was the point of it? And I heard Katy Perry got a little backlash or got a little talk, little chatter that came her way. I don't remember. Was it just one of those things where they just wanted to go to space, to the moon, or was it something for something, or was it just we're going to the moon?
I think it was a like a tourist trip. I think they paid to
Okay.
go, and
Yeah, I just think that they did go above the clouds.
I can't. I just can't imagine that Katy Perry was sent up there to do anything important. But
Right.
I'm just
and
guessing.
honestly, I think you put famous people in a capsule. Of course, it's going to generate publicity, right? Which is, I think, what that did. I think Katy Perry kind of went. I think the reason why she got flack is if I'm not mistaken, she was kind of making it out to be like she was an astronaut.
What?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why? That she's done this before? She's been in space before? Is that what she's making it?
Dad, I couldn't tell you, Co. All I know is I think that was the flack. I mean, is it historic that you're seeing people fly around above the clouds?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that is a historic thing.
So it's just so it's just a straight zoom and then
I know. Do they go? They orbit the Earth? Is that what it is, Jerry?
I think they got up to orbit maybe, but it wasn't a very long flight. So I don't know. They didn't go around.
Because if I'm not mistaken, they landed with a parachute.
Oh really?
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it landed in the ocean.
This was a Blue Origin flight, right?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yes.
That's the Amazon. Jeff Bezos.
Is that the
Oh,
one? Is that
okay,
the one? Is that the one? William Shatner went on to.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've done this before with the celebrities.
Interesting. Interesting.
Good publicity.
And she
right?
got the backlash because she said she was astronaut.
Yeah, it was the way it kind of came off. Poor Katie.
The thing I thought that was so funny was Wendy's social media has been notorious for years of like making beef with people. Part of the pun. But they went and say Katy Perry posted a tweet about how she just came back from this trip, and Wendy's replied with, "Can we send her back?" ?
Right.
And there was this whole article about how Katy Perry is going to sue, and she's not taking it as a joke. And I was like,
Really?
yeah.
People are so sensitive. This is a joke, right?
I guess so, man.
I like Katy Perry.
I like her too. I couldn't listen to her. I couldn't listen to her music for
Yeah.
more than a couple songs, maybe. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just feel like people are sensitive. Of course,
Yeah.
people are going to. I mean, I guess if you got to be on that trip and gone up in the air and circled around whatever they did, I guess that's something special. It's something not a lot of people get to do.
Right.
But I think it's just the way she came off.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, either way, if her goal was, as you said, to get publicity by going up there, then, I mean, we're talking about it right now. So.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She got an album coming out or
Yeah.
something.
It's possible. I don't know.
I have no problem with Gail. Oprah's buddy. Oprah, I guess Oprah was on the sideline, like with her eyes closed.
I'm sure
Crying,
maybe
scared.
Oprah was a little jelly that she didn't get to go.
Well, she was scared. I don't think Oprah wanted to go because
Oh, okay.
she had her face in her hands and when Gail took off. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Oprah could have won if she wanted to.
So allegedly, I pulled it up here. Aisha Bowie.
Okay.
She's a former NASA rocket scientist. She
Okay.
went up.
Okay.
Amanda Nguyen, who is a bioastronautics research scientist, went. Gail King, Katy Perry, Carrie Ann Flynn,
Okay.
who has spent the past decade focused on nonprofit work and film production,
Gotcha.
went up.
Okay.
And Lauren Sanchez, Basil's fiance.
Bezos' fiance.
Yeah.
When did they turn to that? How long have they been fiancéed? Engaged.
I think they've been together a minute now. Because wasn't she originally with
she was with the other rich guy. Right?
No,
She was with an actor.
No. She was with the tight end, the big tight end that used to play.
Oh, Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
with Gonzalez.
Tony
Yeah.
Gonzalez. I think that was his wife.
Yeah, well, Tony's rich.
Yeah. Okay.
Not Bezos rich, but he's rich.
Yeah.
Tony Gonzalez, that was. Yeah, okay, yeah.
I mean, like I said, listen. I know you. I don't. Are you into conspiracy theories, Jared?
I indulge from time to time, but I put on my tinfoil hat on occasion.
Right. But have you heard lately the conspiracy theories of us really not going to the moon?
I have. I was huge into the moon landing when I was a kid. I watched all the documentaries. I've got like VHS tapes like crazy of documentaries from back in the 80s when everybody was really proud of it. And I was really into it. So when I heard those conspiracy theories, I was kind of like immediately brushed them off.
Well, see, and I thought the same thing, Jared, because I was like, yeah, come on. But then again, you sit back and then you see that crazy footage of, well, how did they get this up there? How did they get that up there? How did they get this camera to be in the film this and that? And then I thought to myself, that's kind of, true. I mean, Jared, you're more the tech guy that runs things.
I think I don't know why anybody doesn't talk about this, and I'm not sure it's right, so I probably should fact check this before, but I was told that they did go up there on the moon, one of the moon missions, and lay a mirror on the moon. And so if you know exactly where that mirror is and you have a strong enough laser, you can point a laser at it and see it return to you.
Really?
I don't know if that's true or not,
Never heard it.
but it seems that's what I heard.
But then the theories is too that why haven't we never went back to the moon after all these years with all the technology that we have? And why is it that SpaceX seems to have has more of the technology to get our NASA people back from space after they're stuck in the space station?
Yeah.
I don't know. I found that fun. I just found that interesting. Saying that we didn't really go up there and they were trying to prove their points. And I know Jared's the techie guy, and I just thought, well, maybe get Jared's opinion on it.
Yeah. Well, Jared's a smart guy. He's smart.
That's right.
I don't know. I thought the guy on the moon with the astronaut thing, ain't that it? With the famous photo?
Yeah.
That's the guy on the moon.
And then they were like, well, with the technology, but the stuff that they bring up in that conspiracy about us not really going up there, I mean, there's some validity to what they say, I think. I mean, it's not anything totally way off base.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at conspiracy theories, you look at the JFK thing. They're trying to say, well, he was really shot by the driver of his car. And it really wasn't this. And then they want to show you all this video footage of why it went this way. And I don't know. I just think now with AI and stuff like that, it's almost like some of this stuff, people can kind of recreate stuff with the AI, right, Jared?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with all the tools that we have at our disposal now, I think it's worth checking into, some of these conspiracies. It's people my age tend to brush them off quite quickly. It's only a conspiracy until you prove it's not a conspiracy, and then,
Right.
So.
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot of that, a lot of it going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else do you have on
Well,
that?
thank you, Jared.
Yeah.
He
You're
makes
welcome.
us all work. Thank you for your
Jared,
expertise.
the commander in the booth,
The command room, yeah.
makes
absolutely.
everything roll for us
Yeah.
each and every week.
So we have a topic here that when I said it, everybody thought, oh, you're just a hater. I'm always a hater when I go against like certain people or teams. I just tell the truth.
Okay, what do you have?
But the GOAT had to say it.
The GOAT? Who's
Jordan,
that? Okay.
Michael,
Okay.
Jeffrey, Jordan. So last week or maybe the week before, Jordan comes out and he slams Clark, Angel Reese.
Okay.
And I don't know why people but I know why, but I don't know why. He came out and he said, well, of course, Caitlin is a far better player. We all know that. Anybody that watches basketball knows that. And he said, if Angel Reese worked on her game as much as she works the Instagram or the whatever you call it, social media,
Okay.
maybe she'd be better at basketball. Came from the GOAT. I've been saying it all along. I think that, well, first of all, Caitlin Clark soon is going to get the Indiana Fever to the championship. I think they were like 1 in 1,000 before the franchise.
Okay.
She got them to the playoffs last year. They got more players. They're going to make a run. I don't really pay attention to the WNBA again. I know you. I think you like it a little bit. I don't really.
I mean, this has piqued my interest
I mean,
since Caitlin's been in.
Yeah, the league doesn't make money.
know.
Never has.
But yet they're adding teams.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I don't really watch. Like I said, I don't watch. I don't even watch Caitlin. I like Caitlin. I was a Skylar Diggins fan way back in the day, you know. But Jordan came out and said it, which I've been saying it all along. Angel Reese disguises. She plays on the social media, the tall, and you know she's.
Yeah, I think Yeah.
But I think I always said like she disguises. She does
sex
that
sells.
right, and she's really running away from the fact. And I don't know how much she works. I mean, Jordan will know, probably would know. He's into the circle or whatever. I don't know, but I always said she hides the fact that she's not really good. See, when people play like defense really hard and they dive for loose balls and they do this and they do this, excluding the great two-way players, usually they're not. It's Draymond Green. He's not offensive at all, but he does the little things. She hasn't even gotten, you know, she does the rebounding because she's 6 whatever in the WNBA, and the average height of a woman is not that height. But she doesn't, like I said, he says she doesn't work on the game. She's not a good basketball player to me. She's just not. The layups, the skill, and it also, everybody wants to make this a rival. It's not a rival. Caitlin Clark is up here, and Angel Reese is not close to that. For one, Caitlin Clark handles the ball. You know, and when you can shoot, that helps a lot too. But he said what I've been saying all along. So it took Jordan to come out and say, work on your game. You're disguising yourself. So we'll see again in averaging whatever you average, 6 points or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, that's all. Like every time you look, like, why are your shorts shorter than everybody else's?
It's sex.
I don't. But
Sex appeal sells.
Yeah.
And everybody's got a camera. Everybody's got a social media. Everybody
are
wants
you a
to
model
post it.
or
Yeah.
are you hooping or are you a model? I know you want to try to make, get the league feminine. It's just too much. But Jordan came out and said it, so I guess it'll stick.
Well, speaking of Jordan, your guy Isaiah, did you hear what he had to say?
To LeBron?
No, about the Bulls.
Zeke's always talking about the Bulls.
Right. And I have to agree with him.
I agree just about with everything Zeke
Right.
says.
So he basically said, I don't know who was interviewing, so I don't have it right in front of me. But he made the statement that Jordan really didn't go through the type of quality of talent that the Detroit Pistons went through to get all their titles. That the league was somewhat watered down when he won all those titles. What do you think? I mean, he didn't have to go through the Celtics. He really didn't have to go through the Lakers. Those were the 2 best teams in the 80s, you know,
And the Sixers.
and the Sixers. I mean, it was a different. I mean, I guess the game of basketball did change a little bit after the Bad Boys because that's when they kind of.
I think what Zeke may have been trying to say, if he's probably said it just like you said it, but his thinking is his road was tougher. He went through those physical teams, Philadelphia with Moses and Doc, Bird with the 3, and Magic with Magic and Kareem in their prime, somewhat. When Jordan caught Magic, they weren't in their prime.
No.
When Jordan caught Zeke, they weren't in their prime. So I can see, but Jordan played against Dream. Well, he played against Drexler.
And I think he made the comment, too, that it took him getting Scottie Pippen
Yeah,
to put him over.
yeah. He played against a good Phoenix team with Barkley. The 6 championships. He played against a good, very good Utah team with Malone and Stockton. Jordan played a very good Portland team. I see what Zeke is saying. I don't totally agree with that, but it just was a tougher road for Isaiah. Period. I mean, Jordan, he had some opponents, but the league did get a little, and he needed Pippen. I agree with that. What do I always say about the NBA? You need 2 stars. That's why Zeke is the point guard to me, because he only had himself. He had a good team, but he didn't have no other superstar. Zeke is right about that. Scottie Pippen not there, they don't win that. And Jordan said that. That's not nothing new. Jordan has said that. He couldn't have did that without Scottie.
Do you think Zeke and the Detroit Pistons had the rougher road out of all time than any other team?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I just told you who they played against.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm agreeing. I just wanted you to clarify it for me.
Everybody on the Dream Team, Zeke beat them, but their road again was Philly. People forget how good Moses Malone and Dr. J were at that time.
Right.
And that team. Bobby Jones, Maurice Cheeks, Andrew Toney. That was a great Philadelphia team. Zeke had to beat them. He had to beat the Celtics. He had to beat the Hawks. Doc Rivers, Dominique. He had a tough road. He just had a tough road. That is. Magic had the scoring leader of all time. He had Kareem. They changed the game for Kareem. They changed the rules. Then he had James Worthy. That's 3 all-time greats.
Right.
Zeke had 1 all-time great, him. Rodman became great when he left the Bulls, when he left the Pistons to the Bulls and the San Antonio and all that. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. He's pretty much right on point with that. But air is air. He just 6 championship, all MVPs. And, yeah, he needed Scottie. He did. No question about it.
Okay, so what else do you have on that list? Nothing else on the list?
I do have.
You ever get it off your chest?
I have.
I know you were saving the one.
I would say the one. I'll say
for Sarah next
But I have.
week.
This is in my opinion. I thought about you because I was watching. I watch
Oh, yeah,
watch
that's right.
all news. Right. I watch all news. Channel 4, Channel 2, Channel 7, all of it. CBS, whatever it is. In my opinion, Bill Bonds was the best news anchor in my lifetime, locally. What do you think about that?
Locally, yes. I would say.
I'm just saying 247 are local.
Yes, Bill Bonds.
Yeah.
I would say that.
Yeah.
A close second would be Mort Krim.
Krim was second.
Yeah.
Krim was second. Fisher, I like Rich Fisher. But Mort was second for sure.
Rich Fisher? Yeah, I would say
Shout out
Rich
to
Fisher.
Huell is dope. Huell was dope.
Huell Perkins?
Mm-hmm. But
Yeah,
to
I
me,
like
it's
Huell.
Bonds to me. Bonds and Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two?
Yeah.
Robbie Timmons?
Yep, Robbie Timmons.
Yeah.
Yeah. When news was news. No, it's some of the kids are good now
I think it's changed a lot now because a lot, and I think what's changed
because of the streaming and all that stuff.
well, the streaming,
Yeah.
and then everybody's got social media.
Yeah.
You didn't know Bill Bonds'
Right.
personal life until he, did something kind of crazy.
Yeah.
He had his share of moments, but you didn't. Now you know what these. We have news anchors and stuff that follow us, and we follow them.
Yep.
I mean, you know what they're eating during the week. They're working out this week. We're doing this, and
Yep.
they promote their stories coming up on the different channels and stuff. So I mean, I think I don't know that. I
Media's
guess
changed for sure.
Media's changed for sure. I don't know. Would you say the professionalism isn't as what it was? I don't know if I'd go that far.
I don't know. I would go that far because
I think that you do have, but maybe I would say the news anchors of the past had more of a mystique to
Yeah,
them.
they did.
And then more of a
They did.
legitimate.
They did.
Because back in the day,
They did. That's very well said.
we kind of, nowadays you kind of flip around to different newses. You go to 2 and 4 and 7,
Yep.
and some go to CBS.
Yep.
That's new now, and I think back in the day, you were either an ABC person, and that's where you got your news from.
got your
If you were NBC, that's where you got your, and you didn't flip around. It was
Channel
it
2.
was Channel 2. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I honestly, I think, I love. I mean, I love the news. I love being able to
yeah.
have different options and stuff. Because I even watch different local newses from different cities.
Yeah, I try that. Yep.
Because now you have these apps that you can, out of Houston, where Sassy's at,
Sassy. Yep.
and in L.A. And then in a lot, and like I said, I think with social media, how it is now, where you follow somebody, and then the next thing you know, they give you suggestions of other people to follow that they're following.
Yep.
So you get to know these other different news anchors and stuff, and it kind of opens up the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about because I know how we were talking about Amir makeup.
Yeah, I mean,
that.
she was-
And I said, "Who is the?" And I'm looking. I'm like, I'm going to bring that up on the show. In my opinion, Bill Bonds is the presentation, the slick sayings, the coolness.
But you know what's so funny though? Like I know Jared probably doesn't know who Bill Bonds is. And then remember when we had Blake on, like a few years ago on the show, and we were talking about Bill Bonds, and, this, and she was like, "Who?"
Yeah.
And
Old
of course-
news,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, because when you think about it, by the time she was born, Bill Bonds was on his way out.
And the Amir thing.
And
what brought this up.
Amir's
Yeah.
daughter is actually at CBS News.
Yeah.
And she does the, I think she's a producer over there.
Okay. And you just brought up Robbie Timmons. She was married to
Brandstatter.
Yeah,
Still
yeah,
is, I
Still
think.
is. Yeah. Huh, interesting. Local news.
And
man.
then Diana Lewis, her daughter
Yes.
is on.
Yes.
So it's nice to see that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And actually, I believe Channel 2, Wojciech, his son is on there.
Okay.
Both doing investigative
Yeah.
reporting over there. So.
Yeah, I like the new. I like Diana. Dana is it Dana Lewis? Diana.
Diana Lewis, yeah. Glenda, you mean?
Glenda, I'm sorry. And I like the lady now in 4.
Yeah, things have changed. I mean, you
I
see
like
that?
Group. I like Group. Yeah.
What about did you hear about what happened to Guy Gordon?
No.
He got.
I love Guy Gordon.
I love Guy. Well, he's on. He was on the radio. He made his transition to radio.
Okay.
And they asked him to take a pay cut, which he did. He took, like, from what I had read, took a huge pay cut, and then they wanted him to switch time slots, which he didn't want to do. So he said goodbye. So.
That's what happened.
There was a guy.
Guy
that
was
he
dope.
was kind of behind Rich Fisher
Guy
at
was
Channel 7. I mean, you figure about it, Rich Fisher, Guy Gordon, and Bill Bonds. Those were the 3 solid
Yeah.
anchors. they
And then
had.
Rich moved to 2.
Rich moved to 2.
Yep. Yeah. I love Guy Gordon. They were all good.
It's funny how when people move around. I mean, because I remember when Rhonda Walker was the traffic lady on Channel 2.
Yep.
Not a lot of people might know that.
Earning the stripes.
Yeah.
Staying with it.
Yeah. So much to talk about. Guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just the different things we run into.
Yeah.
But listen.
Do your research, folks.
So you did your. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. And old schoolers, look at the show and listen to what I just said. Bill Bond, look at all that stuff. I said clips.
TV in general.
Yeah.
Not even just news.
Old
TV in
schoolers,
general.
young schoolers, do your homework. Take a peek. Take a peek. Music-wise, news anchor-wise, whatever, sports-wise. Take a peek.
I'll tell you a guy who I really admired, and one of the guys that really wanted me to get it. I really wanted to get into media after watching him. Gary Cubberly.
I know that.
Yeah, he was I actually went to school with his son in elementary school.
Okay.
and they did a feature on us. They used to have a thing called PM Magazine back in the day.
Okay.
And they did like a feature thing at our school for some kind of mini society or something.
Okay.
We did. It was some kind of thing in fourth grade. And he came in with his co-anchor and did some, and I was just mesmerized by what he did, and always kind of followed him. He had a tragic ending. He died on the way to work. Ran off the.
Yikes.
He had a heart attack and ran off the side of the road. But yeah, but he was one. He was kind of like the guy that made me want to
Get into it?
Get into it. Yeah,
Okay.
kind of piqued my interest. So, but anyway,
Interesting. I didn't know that. Okay.
yeah. Some people, you just don't know. It's always it's always some people that aren't the most popular
Right.
kind of help you out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You never know.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
listen, folks, we'll be back on the air next Tuesday, same time, same channels at Kavana Broadcast Network here on the for the Cohen Bro Opinion Show. We'll also be back next week for the Roar Live, which is on right before this, and you can watch that on the Kavana Broadcast Network and My Michigan TV YouTube. You can also catch the audio version of the show on your favorite podcasting platform, whether that's Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, so many to choose from. And Sassy Sarah will be
Sassy
back
will be-
in. She texted me today. She goes, "Are you guys even doing the show anymore?" I was like, "All right."
We're always doing
After
the
that,
show.
Sassy was I think she got a little perturbed at us because we didn't have it. That we were kind of running out of time.
Who cares?
We love you, Sass.
love
So she'll be back, and of course, there's some things we want to ask her. I know Corey does too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll be back next week, Tuesday.
Yep.
Same bat time, same bat channel, and go ahead.
You know who would be a great newscaster?
Who's that?
Hallie.
Oh, Lord.
I just thought about it.
What did you say?
Yeah,
The face,
I
the
don't know.
face, the intelligence, the delivery.
Look how I look like a fool.
I don't know,
Shut
man.
the hell
I know. I love Halle Berry,
see
but I don't know
Halle's-
if she'd make a good name.
The Today Show host.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Shout out to Hallie.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week, folks, right here on the Co and Bro Opinion Show.
Stay tuned.